we can see marvelous, mind-blowing organization and craftsmanship in nature. Let's have a look at the spider's web. Yeah, I'm just playing a small video clipping which explains about the organization and craftsmanship in a spider's web.
Mathematician spiders. Compared to their own sizes, spiders build very large webs. Indeed, if we enlarged a spider to the size of a human being, the length of the web it weaves would be approximately 150 meters, which corresponds to a 50-story skyscraper. Is it possible for a human being to weave a lacework the size of a 50-story skyscraper in only an hour? But a tiny spider accomplishes much more than that. Moreover, the spider-woven web is the sturdiest material in the world. How do spiders weave these webs possessing miraculous features? The spider takes into consideration many factors while weaving a web hundreds of times larger than its own size. This task demands at least some calculations essential in constructing a building. For the accomplishment of this work, first the spider must draw a project like an architect, for a construction of this size, design, and sturdiness cannot be accomplished without an architectural project. Once the project is drawn, the spider must calculate the lifting capacity of each part of the web like an engineer, otherwise the web cannot remain suspended. In order to design such a web and make such delicate calculations, the spider must be more qualified than a college graduate. Indeed, there is not a university that provides education to the offspring. Following their birth, they begin to produce silk, weave web.
It was not clearly audible. So it shows about the technology in a spider's web. If you take a steel strand and if you take the material of the spider's web of the same diameter, the material of the spider's web is 5 times stronger than the steel strand. The material which the spider ejects, it can elongate to 5 times of its original length. If you encircle the earth, that much material will only weigh 1 kilogram. So the scientists were studying this material of the spider's web, the technology in nature, and they wanted to come up with some artificial material which can come somewhere close or which can have some semblance, some comparison to this material, amazing material in spider's web. And they did research, they did chemical synthesis, they did a lot of experiments. They came up with a material which nowhere matches the strength of the spider's web, the material of the spider's web. But anyhow, this material which scientists discovered, which manufactured, is called as the world's strongest material, called as Kevlar. And it is used in rocket propellants, it is used in bulletproof jackets. So you see, the point is here in the scientist in the company DuPont, they were researching on coming up with this material, and they were PhD scholars from world-class universities researching and coming up with synthesis to come up with an imitation material which mimics the technology of the material of the spider's web, and they failed miserably. But wherever they landed, that is called as world's hardest material, Kevlar. Now the point is this, or the question is here: do you think when the spider is spitting out this material, do you think the spider is having various bottles of chemicals in his throat, and and then the spider is thinking, okay, in what RPM revolutions I should revolve so that the right chemical, the right precursor chemicals can come and mix, and at what angle I should so that the world's hardest material can come out. Not at all. The spider just happens to spit something, and what he spits is creating perplexities in the minds of scientists. The point is that. So now it means to say that, okay, a spider, and he happens to spit something, and there is so much technology in it which we have, which we now with all of our intelligence cannot match. And the spider doesn't go to Massachusetts to obtain a graduate degree. Who has planted that intelligence, or who has installed that intelligence in such a tiny little creature like a spider? In this way, we can study. We can study the entire animal kingdom is filled with marvelous examples of technology, the technology in nature. In fact, in University of Melbourne, uh, we have a competition every year. It says that, okay, you have to come up with a new research idea, and you get $10,000 for that if you win. But the research idea has to mimic something which is happening in nature. So that's the protocol only. Don't come up with something of your own head. See something good in nature and try to come up with a solution which mimics it, and then the best solution of that will get a $10,000 in your pocket. So the point is, there is a super intelligent brain behind everything in nature. So organization speaks of the